Yeah. Yeah, it's all part of the flow here on Smooth 98.1 Lagos. We're live on the Grapevine 981 today for a special presentation, and it's with Folu.
And Valentine.
And we have our guest analyst. We have Mist. Hello, Mist.
Hello, darling. How are you?
Oh boy, she
So
called
good
me
to
darling. Oh
collect
my
his
gosh.
voice.
Chef Jeff, good morning.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you working James
Yeah.
today?
Yeah, I have
Thank
to. I
you.
have to. I have to.
2 years.
But guys, we also have a special guest in the studio. We tweeted about it. We posted about it. MI is here right now. We are going to be taking a close look at his album, A Study on Self-Worth. Young Denzel in the building.
Yes. I'm happy to be here. You guys have the most loyal fan base ever.
Yeah.
Shout out to those people listening. They know themselves.
Thank you. Thank you.
And,
Thank
I'm
you.
glad to be here again. Twice in a year, man.
Yes.
Look, I'm moving on up in life. I need to put this on my CV.
No, it's fantastic. It's great to have you here. Thank you for coming through. We know that you are very busy at the moment. You have, we're just going to jump into it. You dropped 2 projects this year.
Yep.
This is your second one this year. It's your 8th project overall.
Yes.
Okay. If in case you guys didn't know, I know someone sent a message says MI didn't come late today.
No.
I said, yeah. You can see.
Yeah, keeping track.
We threatened him.
Well, the time they
appropriately.
gave me, I was like 4 minutes late.
Yes,
from
for the time I
that was
gave you.
given,
Yes, yeah. But you did okay.
Yeah, thank you.
You tried. We're going to kind of launch into it and talk about your latest project. Why a study on self-worth and why this year? Because we know that this project was pretty much ready last year.
Yeah. So I'll answer the last question because it's easier. We just couldn't clear all the samples. And if you listen to it, like, for instance, a sample of the lady saying, "Another thing, don't be a groupie," is so pivotal to the music. I didn't want to recreate it because that would have been, it's something called interpolation, where you take someone's music and you remake it. So I didn't want to do that with the vocal samples. I wanted to keep the Umar Johnson sample. I wanted to keep that lady's sample, the one. So we had to reach out all these people on YouTube.
Gary V.
And,
Yeah.
exactly, and
All
get
that.
all their the permission from all of them.
Okay.
And yeah, it was quite a process to actually get that done. And then when we were done, we were shooting a short film which we'll show tonight, and we wanted people to see that at the same time. So and just normal MI fashion where we just delay projects.
Okay.
I'm happy he knows.
So the showing that MI just spoke about, Folu and I will be there tonight, and Lagos will tell you about it tomorrow. Second of all, class is in session, so Lagos gather together.
Yeah, I think that's it. Let's
Yeah.
start off with the first track, and this is actually the first track off the album. We're not going to play everything in sequence, but we are going to play different bits of it. This one is appropriately titled "Do You Know Who You Are?"
Know who you are.
So I cannot drop
What
chords.
is your name?
Sometimes you wonder why
Hey, this human being.
and wonder how. Don't be alone.
It just makes me want to
Just
scream.
stay calm.
And he's so
If you
like
choose
when I was
not
in
to
he's so like
fight through all the bullshit with no dirty
like
shit.
just I'm like, dude, you're
He
God.
don't know. He doesn't
It's
know.
not hard to
So who's singing
figure
this
out
part?
what you like. Take your time and let it
Studio.
play.
All right, there it is. That's the opening of Young Denzel. If you haven't copped it yet, it is out on all platforms right now, all music platforms.
Yeah.
All right, so Mr. Abaga,
Yes.
please explain. We want to
I
know.
mean, this is the starting point, right? So it actually isn't the starting point of the journey of creativity for me. So I'll have an idea and I'll go do research. Like literally, I did research on this project, and but the starting point for me was like my identity as a black man, and understanding that, you know, as I say towards the end of the project, that the world just hates you if you're a black man or a black woman. Because I'm a man, that's what I'm saying, black man. I'm not trying to exclude.
It's okay, we know you feminist.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably way worse to be a black woman on earth, to be fair.
God bless
But
you.
but yeah, dealing with that and talking about how, you know, you have to be able to see yourself and see what we can be as a race,
Yes.
you know, as a people in the future. And that's, I think that's what the first and the second verse. The first verse is saying, realize that you're a hunted commodity. Look around you, observe your ecology. Like everywhere you look, people are. And then the second verse, I end it saying that black man meditate in the rain, hesitate. Like let your women be kings, give your children the dreams, give them reasons to smile, bequeath them a better future than you have, and that should be the purpose for every black person.
It's powerful, man.
All right, it's your analyst. I mean, guys, what did you think when you heard this one? So that's what I'm going to next. Chef Jeff, this shiny domed one. Excellent.
You know, the moment you mentioned Tate Chaplin and anything, I'm definitely interested in that, because the guy's artistry is something else. Now, regarding your album on as a whole, I love how it's actually full sentences or like phrases, basically, right? You could easily shorten it, but there's the artistry that goes into that whole lengthy element there, because it's such that when you see that and you haven't heard it, it's like, yeah, how is that going to all fit into and then it hits you, boom, and it makes sense. So talk to us about like the samples that you had working on with this here.
Yeah, so on this project, so it ends with two bits of conversation. Number one is a guy called Umar Johnson. He was on the Breakfast Club, and he ended saying, talking about the black struggle, and saying that part of the problem is that black people actually hate each other more than they hate racism. And that was so powerful to me. And then immediately after that, a person that plays a role throughout the album, her name is Karen Solomon. She's a South African therapist. She comes in and says, hey, you know what, Emma, that's not even the worst thing that's done to you as a black man. She says the worst thing that's done to men is the idea that we have to be strong. And
Superman.
Exactly. And we've been talking about this. I was explaining to some students yesterday. I said, look, just in the Nigerian context, because of patriarchy, women are forced to be in the kitchen, they're forced to clean. By the time they get to university, a woman is more prepared for leadership than you are.
Right.
So when you get in a relationship with her, guess what? You've been told, I gotta be the man. I have to oppress her. She has to listen to me. But she has more tools than you.
But you're still trying to play catch up.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is the first point of conflict where the man is like, for me to be a man, she has to respect me. And he starts trying to oppress her or suppress her or whatever, impose his will on her. You know what I mean? And that's why, it's crazy, this idea when people are like dissing feminism online and stuff like that. It's crazy because the idea is that everyone should have a fair chance at life. And how could anyone disagree with that? Anyway.
That's powerful, though.
She's speechmaker.
My God.
Yeah, so here's the thing,
Here we go.
Everybody knows, like, if you follow me online, you'll know that I'm so key on my being a mother of boys. I feel like the role is a very pivotal role to the future of the world. I think the biggest problem has been the way boys have been raised until now. There's too much pressure. And then on top of that, not enough responsibility or accountability, because now they're allowed to just, be boys. Oh, why is he doing that? You know how boys are. And then if you say, girl, don't you know you're a girl? The differences in the way they're raised is key. But then for me, I would really like to give a proper shout out to Tay. See, musically, over the years as Africans, we've been told that there's a way we should sing and there's a way there are things we should not talk about.
Yes.
But I feel like the current spate of uninhibition that is going out, like if people are just, I'm telling you, people are just saying, this is how I feel right now. And I think that's the theme of this album, is this is how I feel right now. This is a situation that we need to address. And this is that goes back to what we were saying a couple of weeks ago about using your platform with wisdom. You realize that a lot of people are listening, and then you're using it to address key issues. You're saying, look, yes, I believe in both men and women. I believe we should all be given a chance. And I feel like all the songs, like people out there, please take the time. Listen. Don't listen to judge. Don't listen to criticize. Listen to learn. And there is a lot to be learned from the album. Even all those talks with your therapist. Me, I'm listening to them like,
I was like, wow.
It's speaking to us.
I was like, wow. I mean,
it just awakens everybody to take an introspective look into their lives. Now, enough of the distractions from the sound and all the other things that we're very focused on, social media, the comments, sensationalism. Now looking into ourselves and say, oh my goodness, I have a lot of problems. I need to fix my life.
All right, let's jump into some of the messages that are coming in very quickly before we move on. We've got a lot of music to listen to this morning. If you're just joining us, welcome to the Grapevine 981. This morning is brought to you by Verve. We have MI in the studio. We are discussing his newest project, the 8th one, and 8 is not being your fave, could they? Okay, up on WhatsApp, Ines says, MI, my darling, my one and only sweetie, chai, I can't keep calm. Okay. Tosin says, MI, we love you and your work is amazing, young Denzel. I still have all your old works too. Cheers. All right. Cruz says, MI, first of all, we did greet. Did you actually interview that Aguero that was talking about leadership. What are we referring to here? 'Cause I'm gonna sidestep that one. Let's focus on the album. And Gloria says, "Am I? Thank you so much for this project. To say the least, it is powerful. I really want to know how far this project will go in terms of sensitization. Is it just going to be what attracts in the market, or will you create a platform for people to express themselves and wake up?"
Yeah, man.
Hold that thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're going to take a break, Lagos. Remember, the number to send a message to is 0809 444 981. All right, that's 0809 444 981.
Absolutely. When we come back, we're taking more of these messages. So do keep them coming in. Tweet at us as well. Use that hashtag Grapevine981. A major key. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is IDK Spaceship.
Go
This
into my
radio thing
bag
is
with
hard,
the
though.
front pocket.
Yesterday,
With the little
Douglas
brown
said I should
envelope.
host the show.
Just-
I was like, cool, this is going to be a breeze. Hello, Lagos.
Oh, Doug, yesterday.
And the gift of the gab is very just
Yeah, seriously.
It's actually a real thing.
Pacing. It's more than just knowing what to say. It's like you're pacing.
Yes.
You're switching from like entertainment side and politics comes up next and one thing. Folu, you try it. You
Yeah,
just
I
try it.
watched them and I was
Oh, yeah.
more power to your muscle.
Walking, I'll walk.
No, muscle to your
You
hustle.
guys know that she can sing. I'm just.
I don't know. She showed me. She's getting my other memory cards. Thanks.
Oh my.
We used to have long, epic
I
conversations.
saw that. It's been too long.
Turning into a studio session.
I only
How
put
about
two
that?
songs so in
I'm
case
saying,
you have more time.
even those.
I'll put another one.
Well, how about
I only put two
voice
songs
over
after the break.
Miss-
Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
you know
like,
that
shift them around as we talk because we could have just
Yes,
shifted it.
work that we left halfway, way back.
We're back
I mean,
in
half-
studio.
Yeah.
And this is the Grapevine on Smooth 98.1. It's brought to you by Verve. In the
Yes,
studio
it
with
is.
us this morning, we have a special guest. His name is M.I.
Young than dull.
Yeah, Mr. Incredible to some,
Yeah.
Mr. Abaga to others,
Some people,
June
some
to
people
others.
twist their tongues trying to pronounce that. Young than dull.
Young
Yeah,
Donzo.
Young
Donzo.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the spelling in just a bit. If you're wondering why we're sounding like this, go check out the spelling. It's rather interesting. Of course, Valentine's here as usual with myself.
Yes, Folu.
And we have got our analyst in the studio as well, Mist and Chef Jeff.
Yeah.
So we listened to the first track. We're going to move on to more, but because of the consciousness in which this project is moving, right? Let's talk a little bit about TED Talk that came out recently.
Yeah.
And you spoke very much about how you used music as your focal point because you are a musician, but you're also an entrepreneur, a learning one, as you said. But you spoke about how we seem to continue growing horizontally versus vertically. What do you mean by that?
I mean, the laptop in front of you is created by a company that has thousands of employees, has a will that and a dream and a desire that is driven by so many different parts.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I'll use the music business as an example. If the Nigerian music business had come together, it'd be one of the most powerful labels in the world right now.
Yeah.
But what happens is that every 3-4 years, everybody wants to break off and do their own thing. And we end up having, as I said, we end up having bungalows, you know what I mean? And a lot of them are uncompleted, as opposed to having skyscrapers that will break through like the horizon of like the global market. And I think that is something that we have to look at. One of the questions I asked is that, is this in a way a perpetuation of the Willie Lynch idea, which is that if you separate slaves, they'll continue to separate by themselves. So we continue to separate from each other, you know, and say, hey, I want to go do my own label. I want to go do. In 4 years, none of the labels exist anymore.
It spirals.
Yep.
Exactly. We're
Yep.
back to square one.
Yeah.
What we need to do, I think, is to come together and build up. I'd like to see a situation where the mind of Banky, the production talents of Don Jazzy, the ability to I mean, what Wiz and David are doing are all housed in one place, and we're using that, you know what I mean, this clenched fist to really punch a hole in, you know, in the global market. Because right now, in fact, what's even happening is that the Nigerian artists that are doing the real numbers are doing it on international platforms.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it is good for our industry, but we don't get any of the residual income. None of those taxes are paid here. None of that money. I mean, to get that money even back into Nigeria would be, you know, another.
Because people actually just, you know, praise the fanfare and all
Yeah.
the attention that Nigeria is getting, but that's a major conversation that people should be having more.
Yeah, it's like we're
Absolutely.
not really paying attention.
Who are the publicists that get paid for these artists that are big? Who are the managers?
The
that are
promoters.
getting paid? Who are the promoters that are getting paid? It's not within our Nigerian
They're
industry, right? So, and this is no indictment on the artists. Please, I'm a huge fan of what they're doing. It's so important. They're giving a new face to Nigerian music. They
Yes.
are redefining what it means to be Nigerian on the world scene. But it would be better if we were also a beneficiary. Our industry was a beneficiary of what's happening.
Stronger together.
All right, thank you very much, guys. But this is about music, so we're going to continue. We've got this next track we want to listen to. Stop, Never Second Guess Yourself. Yes. And this, I think, also does play a little bit into the social aspect and why it is that we are going horizontally as opposed to vertically. There's trust issues there, and perhaps trust issues with ourselves. But let's take a listen to this. This is off the album Young Denzel. Oh crap, this is the one with the your people don't believe that nigga is a swear word. Because it's on this track.
Let's mention. Is it?
All the girls call you average.
Oh no, it's not.
All the girls call you average. You can never be no average.
Yeah, exactly.
Call you average.
No, it's not this
All the
one.
girls call you average. You can
I believe in you.
Yes, I believe in you. Yes, I believe in you. I believe in you.
I look at you, hair down, body rocking, you look fly, Mary Poppins. All the boys looking at you, you the target. All the girls talking about you, you the topic. Hair down.
All right. That one is track number 5. I believe it's called Stop, Never Second Guess Yourself. What was the inspiration for this one, MI? Why this track?
This song just sort of happened in the studio. Sometimes you're just hearing a beat and you're vibing, and it just sort of happened. And at this point, I was like, all right, I need all my song titles to be really long, and and the idea for Stop, Never Second Guess Yourself came about. But look, whether it's I have a niece, she's 14 years old now. Shout out to Jade, and if there's anything I try to reinforce in her all the time, it's just like, hey, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're so dope. I keep saying to her, you're just like the dopest person I've met. Because she will be on social media dealing with all this pressure. And I think that people in my generation and older, we sort of scoff at the idea that people are facing pressure on social media, but it's their world and it's real. I could never see guys that had cars and millions and stuff when I was younger. I just had classmates that had maybe their shoes were a little better than mine. But now in the world, people are like, if you're a young girl, you're dealing with the pressure that Kylie Jenner puts on you. Kendall Jenner puts on you.
Something we will call
Even
superficial.
older girls,
I'm
man.
telling you, look, bro. Last year I started unfollowing people that made me feel
Some type of way when you looked at their images.
Exactly. If I just look at your picture and I'm like, I'll just be like, I don't need to see this every day.
Move
what I
on.
mean? Whether you're flossing too much or
Yeah.
whether like you're so depressed or whatever, like I was like, I need to protect my energy. How much more a 14-year-old, 15-year-old kid? And that's what they're dealing with right now,
That's absolutely hectic. Quite a few messages are coming in this morning. Omeke Martin says, Dear MI, God bless you for sharing your thoughts and for continuously making good music. While Collins Ezekiel says, Jude, you are the chairman, the king of Nigerian rap. This album is breathing fire, and I hope the other rappers are listening or be singing Robbie Shankoli's rap. I beg you. Look at that, they're trying to put you in
Rappers
trouble
are doing
here.
well this year, man. I know you guys had the crown here. Right?
After you ask them to fix up their life.
Yes, we have new singing.
Exactly.
But listen,
Thank you, Valentine.
Here's something, a bit of, well, I don't know if it's criticism or feedback I heard about the album, right? I played it for a very good friend of mine, and he listened to it and said, well, it's cool, but it's very Kendrick-like. And do you get that a lot at the moment in your career? Because when you listen to the composition, you listen to the narrative running through it, and we know that Kendrick's work does tend to have things like that running through it. Does it bother you that people throw up such comparisons?
Throughout my career,
Do you
it's always
hear it?
happened.
Do you hear it?
Throughout my career, it's always happened. So at first it was like Lil Wayne, then
Exactly.
it was Weezy. I mean, there was Yeezy. Then it was like, he wants to be Kanye. If I do something else, at some point, at the end of the day, if you've listened to my music from when I started till now, and you can tell that, that was MI and this is MI, and they both sounded like, then I think it's more about how people compartmentalize music when they hear it, as opposed to me intentionally trying to sound like Kendrick. I mean, there's styles of music I do like. Kendrick recently has been very jazz influenced, and there's almost no jazz on this project. But I do sort of get Good Kid, Mad City, that sort of vibe and the sort of synths that are driving. But it's more a production thing than, an intentional decision to say, hey, let's go sound like, Kendrick, and it's a compliment because Kendrick is amazing.
Yeah.
It's a pretty dope
but the
rapper.
thing is, you have to remember that before there was Kendrick, we had MI. So
Understand?
just saying.
Hey.
Jing, jing, jing,
Let's
ding,
hold
ding,
on.
ding, 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 ding.
Reality check. Reality
All right, so
Get it right.
yeah, we have a message in from Akobi. Akobi sending this one from Ikotu. He says, African rapper #1 and another MI movie. I love that song. Do you know who you really are?
Yeah.
Number one, when is the album coming out? Number two, how can I get it?
The album is already out. It came out August 24th. Please, you can listen. I don't want to say this out loud. You can download it. You have to just listen to it. You know what I mean? Just go on the Nigerian
Your label.
No.
Pulling
What
their
I'm
hair
saying
out.
is that it's available on all platforms. iTunes, Spotify, Boomplay,
Yeah.
Music Play,
Yeah.
wherever music plus wherever you listen to music, get it there.
Who handles your finances, Emma?
But do what you must.
He just wants to work out. He's like, listen, I need the work out there. Listen.
And for people who are trying to track, just do know that you can actually go cop all his older works. It's 8 projects, and to be fair, I'm unashamedly a fan, guys. So I put it up there. So I'm trying to not ask too many questions because we just turned into a political discussion now. But you can get those. Let's listen very quickly to another track. This one, Another Thing. Don't be a groupie. Don't be a groupie. Dude, when we come back from this break, you are listening to The Grapevine. It's brought to you by Verve on Smooth 98.1.
Another thing, do not be a groupie.
Let me hear the sample.
Okay,
So another
carry
thing,
yourself,
do not be.
yourself like a professional and a professional man.
Yes, all these artists acting like groupies where the money is.
I mean, this song,
Yes,
They
it's this
get
one.
ahead, they giving corny lingers. Money make these niggas do some funny
Yeah,
things.
he's been at it.
It's on
This is a funny
Yeah,
business. But why am I expecting more? When half of APC were PDP
Studio.
before.
Shade.
I love how that line came in right.
I see why you think I'm a political now. But
Quick.
we'll just stand on the other side of it.
In
and
our
ask
defense,
questions.
it's 24 hours to the expiration of PVC registration. So
Yo, go get your PVC, man. It's not a joke. Everybody, go get
It's
your PVC.
not a joke. It's not a
Yeah, but
drill,
a lot of
guys.
people that feel that that's not going to do anything. What's the point? You people keep saying it. After all, you musicians, aren't you with all the politicians? Election time will come now. We'll
you
see
will
who
not
sing
go
your
and
song.
perform on the stage
It's
with the
all about the
politicians.
money.
That's what they say.
What's your response to things like that?
Go get your PVC, ladies and gentlemen. Please go and get your PVC.
Yeah.
Just have it. Just have it to have. I believe that this year is going to be very interesting. This election is going to be very interesting, and I think that the paradigm is going to shift a little more. We don't know how far it's going to change, but the last election was important for a reason,
Yes.
and I think this one could be important for the next
Next
step.
stage.
So please go get your PVC, people. Please.
Okay, lots of messages are coming through. Ziggy from VI says, hi Jude, on Young Denzel, what a beautiful album, sublime production. Theme was consistent. If you remove Fix Up Your Lives. Says, I especially love the fact that you weren't trying to do a rapathon with anybody on this one, which I think is the level that you are on. Just preached on the album. Definitely going to be a classic album. And all the features, not one was mediocre. All were on point. Production, stellar. Tay is a genius.
Yes.
This, like a Kanye MI. LOL. Says.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And oh wow, I just saw someone that sounded like that name. That name is not. That's Sixtus' name.
Sixtus, yeah. Sixtus
Yeah.
says left, right. Abaga. He comes
That's
to
my
Bani
big bro.
Baga.
I don't think too many people have that name, so I can assume that it's him. Shout out to Sixtus and shout out to Arsenal fans because we're in an Arsenal group.
Hey, we like
you
it,
could
we
push
like
it
Red
it.
Devils.
Valo, we'll soon off
No.
your mic. Okay, there's still a lot to go through, a lot to talk about, and really just how you feel you're evolving as a businessman and as a musician. Do you think those two things are compatible? We just bumped into Missy Racy on her way out, and she was talking about her son, saying that, listen, GCSEs are coming up, man. He needs to focus. It's nice that you're good at this music, but stop it. We're going to talk about that in a bit. Keep listening. This is The Grapevine on Smooth 98.1.
Love life.
What keeps you going when everything that should be a stepping stone?
No, she's really good. I have to say, like, I watch especially when they're like doing this whole from you to me to you, like pushing on the. I'm like, yo,
Our
sit through
flow,
fast.
our flow, bruh.
Sit through fast.
So
I
good.
like it.
You guys are amazing.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, but
Oh,
also,
thank you.
first of all, I know you know, and
Yeah, I'm
secondly,
becoming more aware of it.
like
I'm
I keep
enjoying
saying
it.
so every time I'm here, like your fans out there, like
We're back in.
Yep.
Oh yes, should we have MI liners by the way?
Oh,
We're back
studio.
in.
Back in.
Studio, we're on.
And we're back into the Grapevine. If you're just joining us, welcome. You have missed out on a fair bit, but it's okay. You can catch the replays up on our YouTube right now. We are live streaming. Go to youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos, and you can see that we have a special guest in the studio. Abaga is here. We're talking about his big project, Young Denzel. If you drive on that link bridge, I finally saw it, because I seen people recording it, and I can't, when you're preoccupied and you're driving, and I was like, look at Jude's face. He's so big on the screen. Exciting as Miss Judge is in the corner.
Look at her like,
At Lagos, we do have Mist and Chef Jeff in the studio as well, joining us. And I want to ask you guys, so you listened to the project. I mean, we got it to you guys. What were your initial thoughts, honestly, forgetting that this fellow is here, when you heard it, in terms of the comments, in terms of how you even think it will be received here at home?
I think my first thoughts were, why so deep? Like the depth. I mean, we do know MI in the past to be deep. He goes into topics and he goes in, but then this one just kind of feels a bit personal. In fact, I think when I was listening to all those excerpts from the therapist, I kept thinking, did he go and see a shrink?
Did you go and see a therapist?
So I was part of this thing called the Tutu Fellowship, and
Yes, you saw that.
one of the resource people was this lady Karen Solomon, and one day she's doing a session where she has like 20-30 minutes with everyone, and so she'll do a profile. It's a very like a loose profile on who you are, and she asked me a few questions. I started talking, and our conversation just went into 40 minutes, and I asked her, can I record it? So I did record it, and then I went back to London to go look for her. So the first time we met was in South Africa. I went back to London, traced her, and I was like, look, we need to finish this conversation. I recorded it, and I told her, I said, hey, this is gonna happen, and she signed split sheets and everything. She was so excited. She listened to it with her granddaughter.
That's amazing.
The album, like way before it came out, and she gave me a permission for it.
Did she have a glass bowl? No,
because
She
she's so
seems so intuitive.
she's so
Seriously.
perceptive and so smart.
Oh,
Right?
wow.
And I spoke with her last year, so hopefully as the conversation goes, we'll see what happens, because I spoke with her about coming here, because she said, look, the conversation about mental health is an important one, and she wants to see how she can help, and sensitive bits in the project.
Really?
Yeah, like the thing where she talks about being abandoned as a child.
Exactly.
That was,
I was like, that's kind of deep.
yeah, that was like when she said it, right? So throughout my life, I'm anyone that knows me, I'm a fiercely loyal person. Loyalty means a lot to me. And she was, talking to me. She said, wait, are you a first child? I said, yes. She said, how old is the younger one? I said, he's 3 years younger. She said, that's what it is. That they see this, what happens is that a child becomes an emotional being when they're 3 years old, right? That's the first time that they understand what's happening at an emotional level. And then when the baby is born, so your whole world, you've been carried, all the attention is on you, it's only your name you're hearing. When the new baby is born, of course, all this attention goes to the baby.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're not. And I would say so to my parents. My parents told me that I used to say so to them all the time. You guys don't love me anymore, right?
Now I
And
understand the animosity between myself and my immediate brother. He's 5 years older than I am. But moving on, it's not about me. It's about you.
So when she said so, it like was like it touched something, and I could see myself differently, And then I actually called a few exes, and I was like, I tell you, I just discovered something. I'm sorry, I may have acted in a way where I was trying to deal with something inside me, where I was anxious of being abandoned, or anxious of being, and not acted in trust because of that.
Wow. I don't think I would like to call my
You see,
exes.
why so deep?
Jeff, what were your thoughts when you heard this?
I mean, I didn't listen in the order, and I'm happy I didn't, because I mean, everything, like your lyrics were really hitting deep. On You Are Like Melody, My Heart Skips a Beat. That was like, was that very difficult to record, because it sounded that way? It's a very complicated song, like, and you're still on the beat with that one as well. I was like, wow.
Wow, that's actually profound. So it was tough for two reasons. So I have another project called A Study on Self, which you've heard. A Study on Love.
Yes,
A
I
Study on-
wanted
okay.
to fight this man, but he didn't drop
Yes,
it last year. But
so
okay.
it's coming out soon. But
Okay.
so there I speak about a relationship that I had and what happened with that relationship. So that's a study like on love. And You're Like Melody touches on it a little bit, where he says, I'm gonna take a chance. Hopefully this doesn't end badly. Let's not only speak, let's do our vows. But you're correct about the flow and catching that rhythm, and then the voice of Lorraine Chia was just like amazing, and that song actually came to me. So what I did is I changed the chords, but her voice came on a piece of music, and I didn't know who she was. She's an American singer, and we reached out to her. We had to clear the sample, and it's just dope, man. I mean, like, it was great to make music where I was learning. All these guys, Odunsi and Tay, all these guys, they were just amazing in the studio. GMK, TMXO, Chills, G Clef.
Yeah.
It was so collaborative. And,
So generous of you to carry all these people along.
I was talking about this yesterday. I said the criteria for me has always and will always be that the person has to bring something to the table in the studio. So in that way, I've never tried to help anyone, because if you're not dope, I'm not going to do it. And it doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter how, if I feel like this is not going to add value, to the song or whatever, I'm just not going to record this project. But if I can hear, if it's your first song, but I can hear something that I feel like, man, this is going to add so much to the song, I'll do it, because I'm trying to make the song better.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can believe that, actually.
Right. Yeah, no, for
We've
real.
worked extensively in the studio.
Yeah.
And she knows, like, I'm a very, like...
Me so being selfish with your music. But let's go over to messages that are coming up on our live stream. We have Victor Bayedo who says, nice one. Grand Tag Vetra said, listen, I can see why the studio is buzzing, because what hits you is not just the music, it's actually the consciousness of the man. Nigerian musicians, are you listening? This man is a walking, talking empire. Gift Omenwaka says, MI the baddest? Well, Believe, shout out to you, Believe. He says, MI has gone beyond the music. This is just amazing.
Thank you.
We have a flood of messages up on our WhatsApp. MI from Akoka, who's a regular, says from one MI to another, young Denzel's study on self-worth is the holy grail right now. I bend the knee.
I love it.
Thank you.
Let's see. Sam from Ikeja sent in this one.
Sam says, MI is sharing deep perspectives on music in general, and most specifically Nigerian music. I bought the album on iTunes and I've listened through more than twice. The focus on lyrical content is very palpable, and I rate that really highly. However, I think the music suffered a bit. We've heard better rhymes or rhythms and tunes from MI over the year, and the whole project fell flat all through. Biggest MI fan nonetheless.
I mean, I can appreciate, I appreciate the fact that music is subjective. I think that what will be powerful to some people will be, won't connect with some other people. I'll just say to that Sam, right, in Ikeja, please listen to it again. I think that sometimes the context within which we listen to music will determine how we receive it. I feel it's great music, but again, it's subjective. So
listen with the headphone.
Thank you for the support.
Yeah.
For the music that you do like.
Listen with the headphone. Don't listen with the speakers.
Henry sends in this one saying, "Sir, MI, the chairman, please keep doing what you're doing, bro. But with the shrink shot, dealing with stuff, you two be human being."
I'm saying.
You see what you did there. Let's see if we can very quickly listen to this one that Odunsi is on. And speaking of Odunsi, I mean, you have you've worked a lot recently with a lot of, and you've always worked with young musicians, to be fair. But with especially the project that you released earlier this year, we saw that sort of being extended in sort of actual collaboration and partnership, not just occasional features. Odunsi has been relatively consistent in your project. We'll talk about it when we listen after we listen to this one. This is positive and negative?
Yes.
That's
positive and negative. I like the fact that you have to be like, is that
plus or minus?
Positive.
Add and subtract. There's so many ways you can say it. So it's only when you listen to the song that you realize it's positive and negative.
Have you interviewed
Small.
Yes, well, I love talking to Odunsi. He's come up here once. We haven't had him back yet, even though we really should, but he hasn't put out any of the projects.
He's like the rallying point for their generation.
Yeah, he really is. He's
like
a
the
very
Superman.
powerful, influential fellow. Without really understanding.
Yo, if I got a dream, then it's gonna happen.
And he's the one that if you want to ask this question about anyone, ask him, he'll be like, this person is what I'm thinking, this is he's something else. He's really, you know that in the middle of all this, like, he asked me,
I don't know nothing about that, I be really shocked.
when we're doing the song, he's
Ain't no time to dilly dally. I really rally any city valley, then I'm chilling and I'm killing them. If I'm in Cali, then I'm killing Cali. Typically, even Cali, pretty be feeling them. I credit Cali.
just went into the
Funny, me and Martin about to get that money, get it, honey, get it. Show yourself like you a flip with money. All I got is hustle focus, they can
never take it from me now. They look up to me. I know they look up to me.
They look up to me. How does that feel, being a hero on this pedestal, which people are trying to knock you down off of. There's always criticisms. You're never going to be good enough.
Yeah.
How does it feel feeling like you the best work of your life? If I borrow a little bit from another TED Talk that I absolutely love by the writer of Eat, Pray, Love. And she's like, how do you feel when people say to you, oh, but your best work is behind you?
Yeah. Thankfully, I've had enough experience now to receive criticism in context. Yesterday, I was having on another show, I was having a conversation, and I said, people need to realize that criticism kills more people than it helps. You know, and so you have to be careful with your words, because people sometimes feel like because I have an opinion, it's my right, I have to give it. A lot of times, you know, a kind word, a supportive word will go a lot further than pointing out to somebody where they've made a mistake. However, in the public sphere, you have to sort of just deal with it. And look, I'm Folu knows me, like, and of course, Miss, you know me too. Like, I'm a very chilled person.
Yeah.
I do my music. If it's received well, that's great. If it isn't, hey, we'll get them next time. And you just keep it moving. And I try to share that with artists. I try to say to them, I know that your music feels like your child, but it isn't. It's your job. So do your job as well as you can, and then find your safe place, your solace, where you can remove yourself from all that.
Yeah.
Because if you connect the two and you are consistently receiving validation for self from the work that you do, then you're in trouble. Because people are always, you can't please all the people all the time.
That is not the truth.
Ooh, on that note, we are done with the Grapevine for this morning. I thank you so much for joining us. I know we have so many more questions. There's so much more music, but based on the way I thought I restructured.
Yeah. Yo, so tonight at Mitsubishi, are you guys gonna come through?
Yes, of course. We'll be there.
You guys come through?
No doubt.
I want us to continue the conversation, and if that's what it's gonna be, we're just gonna play the music, what we've done today, and just talk.
Fantastic.
And everyone out there, please listen to the project. But most importantly, the biggest message I can say is speak to someone if you're going through something. If you're depressed, if you're young, whatever, call someone, reach out, tell someone what's happening. Don't carry your struggles alone. Don't carry your pain alone. For like mothers, new mothers, like there's so much information that's coming. Like there's so much pressure on people. You know what I mean? And the old systems no longer work. So reach out to someone.
5 seconds, MI. What do you have for breakfast?
I haven't had breakfast yet, but
What will you have?
what will I have? I want like an English breakfast.
I think that's what you want. I said, well, yeah, okay, but no problem.
On that note, we got to keep it moving, guys. Keep listening, because coming up in the final hour of Smooth Breakfast, you get to talk with us. We're opening up the phone lines and having a discussion on one of the more important stories, national issues.
Thank
keep
you, Miss.
listening.
Thank you, Chef Jeff.
You're welcome.
Yeah, sure. My name is Emma, and this incredible
Thank you
show.
very
Black
much.
Boy Africa.
I have a whole day at the office.
To the beautiful
Appreciate
sounds
Philip.
of smooth